Martin, how are you?
How are you?
Excellent, excellent. Note taker bot, how are you? Oh, he never answers. I ask every time. No comment.
He starts answering, you better call somebody.
Yeah, that's true. Well, I just added a ton of new videos into the member area. I'll show, let me pull this up here. And then, what is it? Member? myinfluence.com. All right, cool. We got Catherine popping in. Yeah. All right, cool. Yeah. Yeah, I got a lot of stuff in here. All right, cool. Huh.
Getting a lot of podcasts done.
Yeah, I'll share. I'll kind of share the what we're working on in a little bit. Hey, Matthew, long time no chat.
Hey, Josh.
Mm-hmm.
How many hours a day do you spend on Zoom, Josh?
Yeah, it's a solid 7-8 hours. Yeah, there's a I don't know if I ever shared that, but there's so Zoom fatigue is absolutely a real thing for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and so a couple of hacks on that is don't look at yourself and try to keep the video window smaller. And I've noticed it does make a difference. It's just something that's, it's a little intense looking at yourself or, looking directly eye to eye with somebody for hours and hours a day. So, yeah. So one thing I'll do as well, and this is also kind of helpful from a, so I'm not constantly looking at myself. I have a viewfinder on my camera. So I flip it out so I could just barely see a sliver just to know that I've got video or let me know if it's like something's wrong with the camera. But otherwise, I try not to look at myself, and it keeps me just staring at this black lens right here instead. So, well, welcome everybody. Deirdre, Ben, Lynn, John, Warren, Raj, Roman, Devonay, Ryan, Catherine, Matthew, Martin. All right, welcome in everybody. As we're getting started here, we're going to try and keep this part tight because we have a lot of good stuff to get to. Any wins that anyone has experienced in business or personally over the past month or so, real quick, like 30 seconds or under. We'll do a few of these. Tell us what you are up to and what you are launching and what you're working on.
Hey, Josh.
Yeah, Catherine.
I just onboarded a group of 10 for Stakeholder Center coaching, which is great. And then I just left a lady I used to coach who wants to refer to me another group of 10. She just told me to put it together and start August. So I'm super
Well, that's not bad. Congratulations on that.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Good. Congratulations. Any other wins? Thank you. Thank you, Catherine. Thank you for sharing that. Welcome, Jennifer, Caitlin, Marco, Note Taker Bot. I made the joke earlier. Note Taker Bot never says anything back. So good deal. Any other quick wins from the past weeks, months, any new sales, any great developments, new strategic alliances? Maybe you got some sort of big visibility play or something, maybe influencers, media, anything like that.
We recently got that we were awarded the MSP 501, or we are on the MSP 501 list that past years we've probably gotten like the high hundreds This year we got 39. We were placed 39 like worldwide. So we were
Sheesh.
pretty happy about that.
I don't know what that means, but it sounds great.
It's a list for the top 500 MSPs around the world.
Oh, wonderful. Well, congratulations on that.
In terms of sales, reviews, like quality of services, that kind of thing.
Yeah, excellent. Well, congratulations on that. Good deal. Let's do one more. Anyone else that have something good that's happened in the past 30 days? We got an army of movers and shakers here. Hey, Lynn.
Okay. I would like to say that Podmatch shared our how to leverage guest podcasting to grow your audience masterclass. So that was pretty cool. So Podmatch put it out there to all their audience.
Podmatch has been a really good partner for us. I get a ton of guests for the Thoughtful Entrepreneur through Podmatch. I'm gonna talk with him at Podcast Movement and see what other opportunities we can use to kind of boost profiles of some of the shows that we're working with here, just to make sure that we've got a good stream of guests coming in. All right, good deal. If there's one more, we can go with that. Alejandro, I saw you waving your hand a little bit earlier. I don't know if there was something you wanted to say.
No, I just wanted to say hi. No.
Well, welcome. All right, so I try to do this once a month. Occasionally we'll do it a second time a month when I want to pull people together. And initially I was calling it kind of a mastermind, but a mastermind, a little bit different format. Really what I want to do is there's a lot of stuff that we see from our perspective, our vantage point, as we get the opportunity and the privilege to work with each of you. So sometimes we'll see patterns, or sometimes we'll see where maybe there's some sort of a stumbling block that we can address that. So if this is your first time on a kind of a monthly group training call, you're welcome to review all the ones that we've recorded historically. There's a lot of great content, not just for me, but quite honestly, the level at which, we set to be a part of our, this community, you guys are all players in terms of like the success that you're having in business. So what I find is that it's amazing, like how much I learn from the kind of the strength of, the mindset that comes from this great community. So first of all, I just want to say thank you so much for attending. And I want to make sure that this is always valuable. So another thing, if you could always do, is feel free to share feedback with me either privately or in your Slack channel. And let me know what you would like to see more of in this format, and happy to consider that and see if we can't make sure that we value your time. So I got some great feedback on my last kind of our last group training. So just want to say thank you again so much for that. One thing I wanted to let you know that in the Slack channels, just a reminder, you should have a really great account manager that should be working with you personally. They should be handling the day-to-day activity. Please tag them anytime and always. I mean, they should see anything, no matter what the activity is in your Slack channel. If for whatever reason, they are not responsive, or maybe you need an answer to something a little bit faster than they might see it within, a few hours or a couple hours or something like that. You're welcome to tag. You'll have an account manager, and then you'll have a supervisor. Supervisor is either going to be Gite or Kimberly. And then Amanda it's been wonderful to work with her, but she had another client that she'd been working with for 7 years. And client basically gave her an ultimatum that she had to, either we'll start working full time for her. So she had to make the very difficult decision to not be able to work with us. So she'll still step in from time to time in a little bit of an advisory role. So we're just very grateful for her. But you can tag Kimberly or Gita. You should always already have been introduced to, and you can always tag them. Megan is also going to be filling in, doing a little bit more account managing for us. If they are not solving an issue, then If you tag Elisa, she's the here comes the boom kind of person. And she will get it resolved. She will almost always tag me. If she needs to get involved, she'll tag me. But if for whatever reason, it's like, man, this is a big deal, then please do tag me. I won't otherwise see it if you don't tag me. But just so you know, one thing that we try to do organizationally, just make sure everyone's super empowered to be able to solve everything that they need to solve. And if they can't, I will make sure that they have the resources so they can solve things quickly. So anyway, just wanted to get a little bit of housekeeping done and out of the way. Gav, welcome. Nice of you to join us as well. One thing nice to see everybody's smiling faces too. So, hey, could you do a favor? I'm going to take a quick group picture if I could, if everybody wants to smile. And we'll do that in 3, 2, 1. Hi, you guys all look great. Thank you so much for that. All right. Wanted to share with you, I wanted to get your feedback on something, couple of things actually. And then I want to make sure that the vast majority of our time on this call is all about solving problems in relation to sales stages and cadences. And I hope to learn I'll share with you kind of what we do, what we've learned in terms of best practices. But give me camera just a second there to pop back on. I'm gonna need the beta version, doesn't do that. So I'm gonna have to reinstall that one. But I wanted to, so we'll get to that in just a minute. A couple other things I wanted to share with you really quick. I'll share my screen here and wanted to share, again, where the archive mastermind videos are right here. One thing that I wanted to ask people, we're going to obviously address some issues in this call. And occasionally, again, when we meet, I am, able to help with sales situations, a little bit more foundationally. A lot of times I can't really do a deep dive. I just don't have the bandwidth to do a deep dive in terms of I'm saying this and I'm getting this objection, or I'm, can't get over the jitters or something like that when it comes to sales. And a lot of times I can tell you, speaking from experience, I've had the opportunity to work with some amazing sales coaches. One of them is on this mastermind with us, Lynn. If you would like to, one thing that I'd like to do, because I've had several requests for this, is there's just a level of sales support that I'm just not really able to do. And so moving forward, I would like to be able to orchestrate some level of that level of sales support and training. Anybody have any ideas on if we did offer something like that, I don't know, what's an easy way of doing that or facilitating that? Anybody have any feedback on that? So the reason I ask you is, I could guess at that, but I'd much rather, if that's something that would be valuable, if you've experienced any kind of hangups in the past, what the best way to work through that? Do you work maybe individually with a coach? Is that something that's, I don't know, maybe you've done this in the past and it's worked out well for you. I know for me, I liked, Lynn, working with you, Elisa and I liked being able to have kind of a structured program where it allowed us the opportunity to bring up the concerns that we would have, and then we could kind of talk through that process. And we got some really great individual coaching. Anybody else have any ideas? Or maybe Lynn, that might be something for you to chime in on. How does sales coaching work? Or maybe someone that's had it before and it's been effective. How did you do it?
So for us we really have a very structured program, and it is designed to take people through the entire customer experience, journey for sales, and really answering that customer why, so that you can really knock it out of the park. But within that, every customer has a unique product or service that they're selling that answers a unique why. Why does their customer want, need, or lack their product? How does it benefit them so they can? Because people are buying the so they can. And so the way our program is structured, it's individual for each client, and we go through all those steps, and we have a couple of different levels. We have the one that you and Alyssa went through, sorry, where it's very we go through all the presentations. It's very interactive. We were asking you questions, we're working on things with you, we're doing things on the fly, but at the end we provide you with a lot of do-it-yourself tools. And then from there we have where we ratchet it up, where we actually work through you with each of all the exercises, because you'll recall that the program is stuffed with exercises, worksheets, workbooks, so that you can really think through your strategy. It's really about your sales strategy and then executing on that, because I think all of us can agree that when you plan things out, preparation is 9/10 of the battle. When I would go into a presentation to sell a multi-million-dollar deal to Starbucks or Costco, or when it used to be Starwood, which is now Marriott, I went in prepared. And, it was that preparation all the way through. And each time at each stage of sales, your customer why changes. And so I do focus on B2B sales. That's my specialty. And it's about a relationship. At the end of the day, it's that worthy intent, developing that relationship, nurturing it along. And then once they are your customers, really reaping the benefits so that you can get those warm referrals. A huge portion of my business is by warm referrals. I mean, I closed a $300,000 deal at the beginning of the year because it was a warm referral. That's how they came to me. And so these types of things are, and that was for a, multiple business unit account that's going to be implemented over a period of time. But anyway, that's sort of my approach. I personally do have a business coach, which is for my business. I don't need a sales coach, but I need a business coach, because there are other things. This has been a whole new adventure. I've always felt as an entrepreneur in sales, but running my own business for the last 5 years has been a unique experience. It's been incredible. I love it. I'm just a growth mindset person. And that's the other core tenet of our program. It's all and a growth mindset. So it's, we're going to work through that. So that's what we do. And I think for me, I know working with my coach has been so valuable.
Yeah. I live and surround myself with coaches all the time. So our system is designed to facilitate a lot of those high level introductions. And we have some clients that comfortably close 1 out of 4. We have some clients that they struggle with that. And so I only bring this up because there's a limit to, again, just in terms of like our current structure, like how we do that, how I'm able to facilitate that. So a couple of ideas that I've got on that, because I want to be able to help you break through. So if you've talked with 40 people, I want you to have closed, hopefully, right? Because I want you to get paid and I want you to do well on that. I just want to make sure that if there is, like, let's say that there's something that you're doing and it's turning folks off, like I want you to discover that awareness so that doesn't have to be an ongoing problem. So again, just kind of thinking about, creating as much mutual success as possible. And if there are resources that I can better pull together, love to do that. And again, we'll get into some more content on this call here, but I did want to bring that up. One thing I want to share with you, and Lynn, thank you so much for sharing that. Lynn and I will work something out. Lynn does have currently an offer where she will review your calls, and you'll see those listed at the bottom of the member homepage. Let me share with you a couple of other things really quick. And again, these are just resources to kind of help, just depending on what your needs are. So you can click on this, get all your sales calls reviewed. And I would highly recommend this right here. And that's Lynn. And you could see what that offer is how she can help you. One other thing I wanted to, and this one, listen, this one is not a, this one is really an ask. I'm playing around with a lot of this right now. I'm validating an offer. I just got done with the book, Will It Fly by Pat Flynn. So really at this point, just very transparently too, we love the honor of being able to work individually with each of you. I've turned down a number of speaking opportunities because I don't want to, I really can't offer individual. It's working in partnership like we do in this community right here. So I've been getting a lot of pressure to say you should be offering something a little bit more group kind of, lower price point or whatever. If you could do me a favor, and again, this is just a favor. I'm going to put the link in the chat window there. If you want to take a look at that, and any feedback that you could have, especially you guys, you have an insight that I don't have. You have a partner view that I don't have. So if I just share this at the very bottom of this page right here. If you just kind of go through what I've got put together, and just feel free to any constructive criticism that you have on, I wouldn't do this, Josh, or I wouldn't say that, or it's like, it's just, whatever you got. Like I will take any and above feedback. Thank you so much. That's really about all I wanted to share with you. Okay. So what I want to talk about is the process of what happens after you have a podcast conversation with someone. It's a perfect environment to build a relationship together.
It should be the .co.
Yeah, and Jay, I'll have you go ahead and keep your mic muted. Here, I'll do that for you. So also too, I'm going to have some points where if you can look for is it the reaction? Raise hand, yes. So in Zoom, where you hover over or click on reactions, there's a little button that'll say raise hands. So I'm going to be teaching and talking about things. I'll have some moments where I'd like to pause. And then I would love if you have an idea or experience on anything that I share, please chime in, especially as it relates to your experience with how maybe we've facilitated introductions and some things that you've learned along the way. Especially you've been doing this a little bit of time. We want to learn from you. Because I'm just one person with one person's experiences. So what we want to do is, again, we're creating an environment where we can build proximity together, right? That proximity leads to familiarity. Familiarity leads to know, like, and trust. The best gift, I was just listening to Oprah this past week, and I think she was quoting somebody else, but the best gift that you can give somebody is a gift of your time. It's, an act of service, particularly where you're spending 30 minutes together. If anybody's ever done maybe even a service project and you've been side by side with someone else, like filling sandbags or something like that, I don't know what it is about that energy there, but there's just something that's so magnetic about doing something good together. And a podcast is an act of service where we are serving another audience and we're doing that together. Plus the simple fact that we're there to celebrate the guest first. We're leading with generosity by leveraging our platform and doing so in a way where we get to spend that time together. So then from there, obviously it's like, man, the needle's moved over. They really appreciate it. It's a great, you're having great energy together. They appreciate all the nice things that you did for them. And now we need to continue that relationship. I'm going to share one thing with you, and then I really want to get into cadence about this that I've learned and I've heard, and I think I may have mentioned this in our last call, but this is so critical, right? Is when you're done with the podcast, do not say, Michael, would you like to chat next week some more or something? Like, you don't want to do that, right? So they are in your world. Because they're on your podcast. They kind of don't know how this world works, but they are going to follow your lead on this. So we want to lead with integrity. So what I have found, and in my podcast video, I go through this very specifically, and just so you know where that's at, that's in the members area. And you watch how to conduct a great interview. And I talk about that. Okay. But again, I just want to underline this because this will make sure, because you should have about a 95% show up rate on this call. And if you don't, it's going to boil down to a few things. Either they got weirded out because they felt like you started selling to them, or it just felt uncomfortable, like nobody does that. Because people want to do what they think that everybody else does. And it's up to you to set the table to let them know, oh, well, everybody does this. Right. So, and I'll share with you one thing that I've really learned that's helped me kind of move things along to get to a kickoff call or a, kind of the kind of getting started call. And one change that we made, it's made a big difference. And I'll share that in just a second. But the thing that you want to do is you want to invite in a way that's like, express enthusiasm. So enthusiasm always works. We start with reinforcing what we're going to do for you. The podcast is going to go live in a month or so, 4 to 6 weeks. My team will keep you updated, or I'll keep you updated on that. I'm really excited to share this with my audience. And while you were talking, I came up with a few ideas. Love to chat. We're out of time right now. What does your schedule look like Thursday or Friday? I've got 30 minutes. I would love to share a couple of ideas that came up while we were talking, or I have some ideas, maybe some things that I might be able to help out with. What does your schedule look like Thursday or Friday? I've got a 1:30 on Thursday Eastern time or an 11 a.m. on Friday. Would either of those two work for you? Okay. That is very intentional why I ask it just like that. I don't say, yeah, it's not a yes, no question. It's an either or question. Right? So for them to say no, that's fine, they can, but they're less likely to do that because you didn't ask them yes or no. Generally, people will say no. And the reason why is because you're asking them to do it's like, do you want to choose to do something you've never done before that might, be unusual or whatever, or no. Well, I know not doing something. No, I'm comfortable not doing something. And so if we say, express enthusiasm, we're not going to talk about in the question, we're not going to talk, it's too early to have a conversation about selling. And besides, you just wouldn't do that at anywhere near this stage in the relationship. But you're going to ask them Thursday or Friday. And then again, what you want to do is you want to get and just say, I'll just send you the calendar invite. Do not, I've learned, don't give them your schedule link, just book it for them. So if you're using Go High Level or whatever your CRM or your schedule, have their stuff pre-filled out if you can. Otherwise, pick a time and go ahead and when they say they'll pull up if you ask it like that, they will likely pull up their calendar. If you otherwise had decent energy together, they're going to do it. And then they'll say, yeah, I guess that Friday at 11 looks all right. Cool. I'll send you an invite. It should pop into your email here in just a little bit. And then as well, then what I do before we chat, and I go like this, right? And I say, I don't know if this would be a fit for us, but just so you know kind of what I do, you're welcome to take a look at this. And if you treat it like it's no big deal, like they can or can't, it's totally up to them, then they're relaxed. If you're like, watch my 3-5 step process for blah, 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 they're going to be like, okay, you're going into pitch mode. No, I can tell you're trying to sell me. Don't sell. It's, again, way too early in the relationship to do anything like that. But so you treat it like it's no big deal. And then guess what? They're much more likely to do it. And then what you're going to do is you're going to schedule the appointment, include a link to your page that the website that's going to do all of the selling for you. Right. And so you want to have great assets, video explainers, client testimonial videos, walkthroughs, FAQs, and that's the page that you want to send them. It should not be a selling page. It should be more of a, hey, here's what we do. Here's the success that we have. Might make sense for us to work together tone, right? So don't be pushy, like in a typical kind of ClickFunnels-y kind of way. Sorry, no offense. But it's more about the impact that you're having with your partners, your clients, and you're honored to do what you do. Matthew, let me take a pause and throw it to you. I saw your hand up.
Just wanted to ask right quick, because my recollection was it was a half an hour slot. People can be really protective of anything longer. Yes?
Oh, yeah. Yep. Thank you so much. Yeah. 30 minutes. Right. And yep. Perfect soft close question. Thank you, Lynn. Lynn looking at Rebecca. Lynn's looking at you like a proud mama. No, I'd say cool younger aunt. Yeah. All right. Sample of that kind of page. Yes, Warren. Go ahead and let me share with you. And do you mind if I walk through and I'll tell you why I do everything I do on this page? It's very intentional. It's upmyinfluence.com/B2B. Let me see here. This is the read, let me see, upmyinfluence.com/B2B. Let me share my screen and I'll share with you. Everybody should have this on their website. And the reason why you want to do this is because you want your website and your videos, your walkthroughs and your FAQs to do all the heavy lifting. Because the next call, here's the dream situation. You want them to pop onto that call and they're like, I watched all your videos. I get that about 80% of the time. And then I can go right into the conversation about the agreement because they'll probably have a question or two, maybe clarify some things, but I don't have to do any selling because the website did all of the selling for me, right? Another advantage to letting your website and your videos and your FAQs and all that other stuff do the selling is sometimes there may be some audacious or assumptive language that you might feel uncomfortable in saying in a call, and it might feel actually a little inappropriate based on the newness of the relationship. But see, when they're watching a video and you're kind of talking to whomever in that video, right? You're talking to your ideal client, your avatar, but you can say things in a way like you could crush an objection in a video in a way that might be a little pushy in a private individual one-on-one call. So it's almost like a little bit of good cop, bad cop. Your job is to only be the good cop on the call. Really no selling. If you do this right, you shouldn't have to sell anything. You answer some questions and just double down on the relationship, double down on being a friend, be a cool person. Matthew, I got you. Was that still the same raise hand or do I have to lower it for you? Was that new thing? How do I? Oh, lower hand. Oh, there we go. I did it for you. Okay. All right. So let me share this with you because I want to make sure that you have something similar on your site. If you got salespeople that are doing this for you, hopefully you have these assets that are all put together. But I want to walk through why I do things very intentionally here. All right. Get Nico in here. All right. So the first thing I do is I have an explainer video. Now this one's a little long and I do have some people that say, I watched the first little bit and then they don't finish it. That's okay. So one thing you can do, right, is you can have the executive version. And in this video, you'll see what I do. I'm not going to play okay, but you can see what nice freeze frame, Josh. It doesn't matter where I pause my video. I just always look like a goober. But you'll see, I explain it in high level. What is this thing? And I explain it in 1 minute. And then if they want to watch the rest, they're welcome to. This one goes a total of 15 minutes. That would make it a longer explainer video for sure. Now, what you can do is you can have two videos, one that gives a short version explainer and one that gives a longer explainer that talks about, Rebecca, I'm thinking of you as a creative officer that's able to come in and to think of you and position yourself in a way that to get them thinking, oh, whoa, ooh, that's way more valuable than what I was just thinking. So that gives you the opportunity to position yourself. All right, Rebecca, speaking, since you raised your hand and I'll continue on the rest, but you raised your hand. What do you got for us?
Well, my question is I had a gentleman that I did the interview with. We got along great. We have connected probably now 4 times.
Wow.
And yeah. And I have referred him like a crazy woman to everybody I could to get him on other podcasts and other opportunities for him. He's very happy with that. And today was the first day I tried to do sales. And I felt myself freaking out and going, I really don't like doing sales. I said, but I want to tell you this because I think it's value added and I think it would help you and da-da-da. Is that the way to go about it? Or do you never do sales?
Ooh, a great question. I'm going to let someone else answer that because I know that there are a few people that are chomping at the bit because they've been where you are. I've been where you are. And so raise your hand if you've got a great answer. You can either raise your real hand or your virtual hand.
I should put mine down, shouldn't I?
All right,
wants to talk.
Lynn, go ahead and take it away.
Was that me, Josh?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay. Well, I'm going to say the first thing that you have to remember, Rebecca, is that you're not actually selling to someone. you're actually, you're providing a really valuable product or service that's going to make their world better. If you don't believe in your product or service, then you need to find another product or service. So from my sales background, when you believe in what you're doing, you know that it's going to help them. So when I started my career, I sold printing, all right? Ink on paper, custom print jobs. But I knew I was helping the buyers, the marketing directors, managers, whatever, because I took something off their plate that they didn't have to think about, deal with, or in any way. Again, I provided this incredible service so that they knew that everything was going to be fine and they could deal with everything else they had to deal with. So, I mean, I sold something a little different than just ink on paper, right? But you are selling a very valuable product or service. So the first thing you need to do is change your mindset about this, because that's limiting you. It's holding you back. And what you need to do is get excited about what you can do for them. So in this particular case of this customer, what's their why? Why do they need your product or service? You know, how is it going to benefit them? So they can do what? Because you are selling this so they can. So Josh's program, when I purchased, I jumped right in because I saw the value right away for this program, because it was going to give me a new way to bring sales leads into my business rather than warm referrals, which is how I have done business historically. It wasn't, and it was brilliant because I recognized it was not cold calling someone so that they get turned off. I was offering them a valuable asset that they could use in their sales process, you know, or in their marketing, whatever it happens to be. I mean, so it was like an immediate, like, yeah, this makes sense, because he answered my so they can, so I can get highly qualified leads that need and want my product or service. So that's what you need to go at. So first I take a look at who this person is, why they want, need, or lack your service, how it's going to benefit them, and then what's their why. Try to do, you've talked with them 4 times, get inside their head. What's his why? And then that's what you're going to start to talk about, you know, and because it's not, you're actually selling this incredible solution that's going to make their life better. And it's not selling, you're giving this incredible value. When you pivot that way, you start to play, it's going to help you. So I took up too much time, so I'll mute myself.
No, that was great. Lynn, one other thing that I wanted to add to that was really helpful for me is I recommend, like, you know, asking yourself deep questions like, what are the consequences if somebody doesn't have the opportunity to work for me? What might they do instead? Or what could their inaction lead to? What are the consequences to them? So it's a shift of, like, it's not about what's in it for me. It's like, if I don't act, I'll tell you, the one that would bring me to tears commonly with my other company, Savings Angel, is if I didn't market, or if I didn't get out on those stages and serve and give and evangelize for what I do, then my avatar, who was, you know, essentially someone just like my mom, I forget the name I gave her, but my mom, I remember her being on WIC and, you know, and stressing, because when I had a younger brother and sister, you know, she's like having to buy diapers because she's so tired of using cloth diapers and just that stress. And she's like, if I buy that, then I can't buy the cereal. And having to make those kind of decisions, that will motivate you. For you, for example, right now, people are losing so much business because their design stinks. It's not approachable. It's not authentic. It's ugly. It makes them look like amateur hour. And so as a result, think of all of that lost business that they have. They're spending all this money on marketing and stuff. Probably they're paying for a team to be able to do all that work, to fulfill services and, you know, all that content stuff that they're doing. And then finally someone says, okay, let me go check, you know, so-and-so's website out. And then they're like, oh, that's disappointing. That's too bad, right? Because I believe you will not attract a client that exceeds your level of branding, because they're going to say, hey, listen, in business, I'm a 7. And they go to someone's website and it looks like a 5. They're like, I appreciate that, but I don't think I'm in the right room. So that's the consequence. That's one of the consequences. But yeah, I like that. Any other idea? How did you get out of your own head around the idea of selling? Who else? Who did I see? Wait, I missed it. I thought I saw some action. No?
Catherine sent me something online.
What's that?
Catherine told me to read a book called Ask for More.
Oh, great. Thank you. I appreciate that. Catherine, what's that book about?
It's actually written by a woman, and she's behind the point that it's just validating a lot of what you're saying. And you're there to help other people. You're not there to help yourself. You're solving that other person's struggle, and you're trying to understand what that problem is and use their words, reiterate it back into that message. And she's got just a great question. And it's tell me about the struggle that you're seeing. Tell me about why this won't work. Tell me about whatever. And then after you get through the tell me, then it's tell me more. And I know that sounds about as boring as it can get, but she's got, the 10 questions you need to ask for negotiations. And she said you need to negotiate more as a woman. And I hate for that to sound all woman man stuff, but you need to negotiate more for yourself, because you're doing it for the next person who's coming up behind you. And they need you to ask for more money, for more ask, more wants, because the next person who's quitting their job and is going to do what you're doing, they need for you to pave the path.
Wow.
Yeah. And gender is a very known issue in sales dynamic. So sometimes we have to, and I do this, right? And I don't understand, I don't honor my value as much, or I don't set those boundaries. So our time is worth a lot. Certainly the services we provide, we can solve major problems doing what we do. We provide great, incredible opportunities for other people. And listen, it's up to them ultimately. They get to decide whether or not this is something, but what we want to do is perhaps paint a picture on what we could possibly do together, right? Here's how we could work together, and here's how, here's what I can provide. And obviously, I wouldn't want to move forward unless this made emotional plus logical sense for you. So I need to make sure that, that there's, an ROI component to it. So emotional reasons for buying now, urban, logical reasons for buying now. So people will always make an emotional decision first. Wouldn't it be nice to be seen as a true authority in my space? Well, yeah. And then logically, I can justify it because of ... So, so that might be some helpful stuff there. Cool. Anything else on this? Warren, did I see you, or are you just
one? I mean, sort of in the way we talked about it, but.
And can you turn up your mic a little bit, please? Or speak closer to the mic? Yeah.
A little bit about the mindset of going in. Like, it's not just about conveying that you're there, but if you are actually there to solve problems, then you're not selling, right? If you actually sit with a client and say, well, what is your problem? Well, let's solve it. Let's figure out what the solution might look like together. Then there's no sale involved, right? It's just solving a problem. And here's how I think an approach looks like. And would you like to explore that? And but it's authentic, like it's not technique-y, right? And I'll just tell one quick, I had a client who I was teaching her sales, and I said, remember our sales call? And she went, what sales call? I said, when we first met. And she said, that was a sales call? I said, well, yeah. And she said, well, I thought you were just there to help me. And I said, well, I was. And at the end of it, you wanted me to keep helping you. And she goes, oh, you. But it was that authenticity, right? Of just solving the problem, not worrying about whether they buy or not.
I think what threw me off was that he has a full staff and a creative director and artist, but what I'm seeing is not as good as it could be. And I was trying to be very careful with that, going, we could take this off your plate. That way you guys can focus on, these more paid ads, and I'll handle all your social. We'll create this beautiful library, blah, blah, blah. He seemed to be interested. We'll just see if it works. I feel like I've not sold a thing yet because I'm just trying to be helpful. That's all I've done.
I see the book Getting Naked has been recommended in the channel as well. So another thing too is, if I truly am advocating for their needs and their pain point and what I'm discovering, right? my solution doesn't have to be the solution. You know, if someone's like, well, we're selling B2C, I'm like, oh, well, I'm terrible at that. I'm not your guy, but I'll tell you what, let me give you a couple of resources I think would be super helpful for that while you're taking care of that. And by the way, you know, I work exclusively with high authority, high ticket B2B service providers, generally service-based businesses. So I want to remind them of like, I do one thing and I'm exceptional at that one very specific thing. Let me just help you out pro bono on this other stuff, because I don't even sell that. Like I'm not, and I don't try to sell something that I'm, you know, it's not in my zone of genius kind of thing. But yeah, absolutely fantastic. Let me, I'm going to change the format a little bit because I do want to, I was going to, let's see here. Let me not share that. I was going to pull up Amazon and find that book for you. I wanted to share, let me continue on with this school of thought on having your website. So another thing that you could do, Rebecca, as well, is your website can, again, address some of those more bigger issues. Like, listen, like, for example, like you want to pre-handle objections as well. So one objection might be, well, I have a designer. Great. 90% of our clients, I hope you have a designer. 90% of our clients have a designer. They have access to a designer. That's not what I do. I provide creative leadership, right? And so you position yourself well, and you position in a way where, you know, again, honors your value, handles those objections. Like, for example, and you do, like, one thing, you said the word that you wanted to be sensitive there. And another thing, sometimes, and I have this happen, the sales director or the marketing director is on the call with me, and I don't want that person to feel like I'm taking their job. So I am very sensitive to that. So instead, I want to enroll them as an ally. So I'm very mindful of that dynamic. And a lot of times I say, Jeff, you've been doing this for a long time. You know so many things that I don't know. What I do know is a very specific technique that we've become very masterful at. And my job is to make you look like a rock star. Right. I want you and your sales team to sell more than you've ever sold, you know, as a result of being able to have and get FaceTime with higher ticket clients. So you can, because, you don't want, I want to make sure you're not talking with as many tire kickers and, blah, blah, blah. And I start repositioning the competition, right? Well, other lead gen stuff, address that. But so let me go back to this right here. That great conversation, but yes, your website is a great place to handle a lot of that stuff too. I address kind of almost like a feel, felt, found kind of thing, right? So and this right here, this is my big domino. So as much as I diss on Russell Brunson a lot, there's a couple things I really like that he's talked about. And one is the big domino. And I think that's an expert secrets where it's like, listen, what is the one big idea that if you can instill this idea, the rest is easy? Like the philosophical belief. So for example, my big belief is that traditional marketing and sales does not work for big ticket stuff. Like you can't just run a bunch of ads and try and sell someone a $5 tripwire and all that. And that's nonsense. Big ticket people don't buy like that. Big ticket people buy human to human. We're relationship. We don't have time to be marketed to. I'm not going to sit through a webinar. I'm not going to read blah, blah, blah. I'm not going to go into all that. But anyway, that's my big ticket. That's my big domino that if I can get them to and I just ask them and I get them to empathize. How do you feel when you go to someone's website and it looks like amateur hour, right? What is the likelihood of you doing business? Does it go up or does it go down? Your website should be your number one salesperson, right? So my job as creative director is virtual, creative director is to solve that problem for you so you can ROI my work easy. Right. So that could be one way that you could continue to explain that. But I want you to be mindful of what is the big belief that you need people to get behind. And again, if you search like One Big Domino, or if you want Russell's book on the expert secrets, I think that's a good concept. And you just hammer it. I mean, you just crush that belief. Like that is like, and they're like, yes, I get it. I agree. Like, I understand where you're coming from. I have great empathy for what you're describing right now. Then once you get their buy-in on that big belief, okay, well, what do I do with this new belief that I have now, right? And so then that's when you want to, here's the general formula. And I don't know if I've, like, videos, websites, here's the formula. Introduction, establish some authority real quick. Then you introduce a problem. Then you introduce the consequences of that problem, and you amplify it, and you you really instigate the pain associated with that problem. Hey, how frustrating is it to stagnate in business? Most of our clients are very good at what they do. They get great word of mouth, but it's not reliable. And so they've experimented with all these different things and it doesn't work. Like, how frustrating is that? And you've probably experienced this as well, right? So then what's the problem with that? Well, you're not able to grow and scale like you should be able to. You're very, very good at what you do, but you're not getting recognized for who you truly are. And, it's inconsistent at best, right? Worse, you have episodes of stagnant growth. You could really really start hammering the consequences of that you hear from other people, right? And by the way, a great way to do this is tell stories about other people when you do this. So again, introduce problem, amplify the pain of the problem. Then what you do, feel kind of I love narratives for this. What I discovered, I had this problem myself. I was working with someone and they had this problem and it drove me crazy. It drove them crazy. You're telling their story, right? And so what we discovered was, right? Or what we found out was, I studied with Savings Angel, I studied all of the experts. I read a stack of books like this on how to cut your grocery bill in half. And what I found was that there's, and I boiled down, I said, there's two ways to do it. Either grow all your own food, or you have to learn how to take advantage of incentives being sales, rebates, and coupons. And you have to, but it's not about using those individually. And so I'm now digesting. It's like, listen, I've done all the work for you, or I've been in this space for a very, very long time. And I hear this all the time. And here's what we find, right? And you introduce the solution, right? And then maybe you back it up with, kind of maybe logically addressing it just a little bit, but emotionally what you want to do is you want to start painting a picture now of how their life is going to be different. So emotionally get them to visualize and experience it and feel it and smell it. And, imagine what it's going to be like when you show up on Monday and you've got three or more appointments booked on your appointment. And these are amazing people, right? What will that be like? How will that feel? How will your teammates feel? Like, how will that impact morale and growth and your loved ones and et cetera, right? So you make it really real for them so you can get them to feel the emotions. Like all this stuff I'm describing, you can do, it's easier to do on a website and a video than is like kind of actually do this in a live call with somebody. Kind of hard to do that. But yes, you do that. And then testimonial. Someone like me had the same problem, did this thing, had this result. That's the result I want. And then call to action. And so re-emphasize, let's get rid of that pain that you're probably experiencing in your life. Listen, I generally, if you're selling big ticket, it's always going to be a call. Nobody buys big ticket without a call. It's just a simple fact, right? And so, so you're going to aim for that. Let's grab a few minutes. Happy to help. Like, it's not a sales call, right? So you're just like, let's grab a few minutes. Happy to help. Maybe I can come up with some great ideas, whether or not we ever work together. Like that is to me, like I love letting people off the hook. Like I'm fine with either outcome. If I, and again, you got to set filters to make sure you're not talking with tire kickers and, people that aren't qualified. So you do have to set, so listen, if you're in business and you sell big ticket, you've been in business, usually, you need to be in business for a couple of years and, have, generally, if you're under, $100,000 a year, like if you have to set those filters so you're not talking with tire kickers. So don't be afraid to do that, because here's the value in that. When you start getting very specific about who you work with, I know I'm in the right room if I'm your ideal client. So don't be afraid to say, listen, if you're earlier stage in business, man, keep watching my free stuff. I am here. I'm going to serve you pro bono. You don't need to give me a dime. Subscribe to my YouTube, subscribe to my podcast, and I am here in service. If you are, and then list out, your avatar, let's grab a few minutes. I definitely, if you're at that level, I have some ideas for you. Whether or not we ever work together, it'd be my honor to help out. Like that, and that's kind of the formula for like a good video, or there's the sales video, and then there's explainer video, right? So maybe like when we talked about like how you could break this up, your sales video is probably going to be short. So I have one video. If you watch the video on my front page, I lay out the big domino and I push it over, right? So now on this page, I was just sharing with you, I have an explainer video. Now I still do the same stuff, but I'm going to go more in detail and explain exactly how and why it works and how it's going to solve, it's going to solve their problem. So any thoughts on any of that? And by the way, there is a recording of this. If you're like, Danny, there you go, Josh starts talking fast again. So my mom's family is Finnish. And if you ever heard my Uncle Norman talk, he's the FedEx. I don't know if you remember that guy from the 80s, the FedEx commercial. He was literally like just talked that fast. So, but my Finnish family talks very, very fast. So, any questions or thoughts on any of that? I got a few more minutes here to make sure that I've delivered value, but you know what? I'm gonna hit the pause button on that. Who has another question of something that we could immediately address and solve? Something that's been gnawing at you, something that's like, this person didn't buy or whatever. Like, go ahead and bring it to the body. Is anybody can I ask another question then? Is anybody in a mastermind? Yeah. Can somebody, another request that I got, I'm not ready to organize anything like that right now. But I've been in masterminds, as long as I know that, again, I'm in the right room with peers. I love it. When there's like a big mix and you got newbies and stuff like that, it's cool, happy to help and stuff. But it's nice when you're like maybe in a group of 5 other, all kind of at the same level in business. We all have different experiences. Anyone is anyone have any ideas about the value of masterminds and how that's maybe helped you in business? The reason I ask is well because is maybe that might be something that we might be able to help out with. If you said, listen, Josh, I know you know a lot of people. If you could get 5 other people, and I want someone who does this. I want someone that's got, Wolverine claws. I want someone that can see X-ray vision. I need a teleporter. I need, and you tell me who kind of your dream mastermind is, 950 plus guests in a podcast. It's possible we could do something like that, but I don't know. Right. So if you have any thoughts on that, you can either message me, or if anybody has any thoughts on are masterminds great or not. We've got just a few minutes left. Love to hear your thoughts on that.
Masterminds have probably been the number one thing that I've used to grow my business, for over a decade now, exponentially, no matter what it was I was doing. I mean, from becoming more of an authority in my field to every suggestion I got, and as networking with other people in there as well. And the higher level masterminds I did was the higher level connections and quality connections for really global ventures and businesses and things like that. So I totally encourage that.
What is it about the mastermind format that creates that, or helped create that for you?
One, that the people are not entry level, like you said, they're more successful people already. So with that, when you have someone in a hot seat and they're saying their challenges, you have a lot of people that have had those same exact scenarios and can teach you how to get out of it and how to leverage a lot more things. They just play at a whole different level. And what I love are the ones that include playtime as well. So not only are you doing business with someone in a seminar setting or something like that, but you're actually doing these activities and excursions with them. So you really develop that relationship. It's like more done on the golf course than in the boardroom, something like that.
Interesting. Great. I appreciate that, Rush. Thank you so much. Any other items to appreciate? And again, thank you so much. Any other thing? Thank you for answering that question. That's very, that was another ask for me. So thank you for sharing that. If you have any ideas on that, or if you're like, hey dude, if you want to do da 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 da. Any ideas? Like if we did facilitate something like that, let me know what that dream situation would be like for you, and we'll see. You know, maybe that might be something that we could help with if that were a need. If that were something that we could help with. Anything else that folks got going on that we can help with? Thank you, Rebecca, for the great question. We had a lot of great conversation, and hopefully that was super helpful. You got some good book recommendations. And by the way, if you haven't been watching the chat, there's been some great messaging, and I appreciate everyone that's participated there.
And Josh, this is Ryan. I just had a quick question. Well, this is going to not be a quick answer for sure. Not they can fit into a minute and 5 seconds or whatever. but so maybe a topic for another day, or maybe you have some resources already for this. But I guess one of the things that I've struggled with a lot is, you know, this is all super helpful, you know, and it's information that I can personally absorb and put into practice. But I guess looking forward, you know, one of the things that I always struggle with is figuring out when is the right time to add more sales bandwidth, and also how different strategies to go about doing that. Because, you know, we're not necessarily in a position cash flow wise where we can just start hiring full-time salespeople, but obviously there's a lot of different steps between those two, you know, where we're at, where I'm doing all of everything.
Ryan, yes,
getting full-time help. So I guess that's sort of a very open-ended question. That's kind of one of the things.
That's a brilliant subject, and it's actually one that I've interviewed a lot of folks about, you know, how do you go from founder magic, I'm the guy, you know, the guy or gal that's doing all the selling, it's just me. How do you then start to build that out? I have a lot of thoughts on that. And quite honestly, what I had planned on talking about in this call, I was, you know, I promise you that we are going to address that, because we all have to be thinking about what are the next few years going to look like. I don't know, maybe you want in a few years from now, you want things organizationally to look a little bit different than what you are. That's very common. A lot of founders, you know, they do all sales and marketing. It's usually, and then finally at some point they start building out that team. Hopefully you're building out some of the, listen, when we have our meeting next time, I'm going to address that, and I'm going to share exactly step by step what all of my team does on a daily basis. And that's I think the easy first step is to start hiring sales assistants to help out. And then we'll get into kind of where you go from there. Great topic for next month. All right. I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. Yep.
Yes,
And,
sorry, Josh. Josh, I just had one last thing to ask.
You bet.
That right now, that Devon just told me that they're in the process of making the pages, because we finished the edification videos.
Yes.
I did the LinkedIn makeover and some of the other stuff, but what are some other things that we should be doing in preparation for, like, once we actually start making scheduling podcasts?
Yes. So let's definitely review sales assets. Best content, sales assets, kind of like what we were talking about on having a sales explainer page, client interview videos, testimonials, people just like them. You obviously want to set up the game plan and the sales structure in like your sales stages and cadences. Now I do have videos in the members area that will cover that, but we can also just flag me or ask your account manager, because they'll tell you where all that stuff is. You may just depending on, you know, how things are staffed out, you might consider joining our kind of our, and again, it's completely up to you, our Founders Club program, where this is where I'm putting over, I'm creating an incredible library of every single thing that I could possibly conceive of when it comes to sales, particularly in and around this model that we use. it starts to go outside of scope. So that's why it's kind of a separate product. And it's also going to be probably our next phase where we probably draw the line at like 120 clients and like, we are locked and loaded for life. I want to partner with you guys for life. I don't want new clients. I'll just start teaching. Yeah. But anyway, there's a lot of value that I'm dumping into that. That might be an option. But anyway, for our purposes, for you getting ready for sales, yeah, just tag us on Slack and we'll make sure you have all the right stuff ready to go for that.
Okay.
We're going to set you up for success.
Sounds good.
All right. Guys, thank you so much. Anything else, DM me in Slack, share it in your Slack channel, and we'll chat there. I did put our Facebook group. You can join. I am always there. I see every single message. But I've got just a little bit of retooling that we'll be doing there. So you can see that facebook.com/groups/upmyinfluence. You could always bring up a subject. You could always ask me a question there and I will respond there. And I'll probably respond with some really good content. All right. Thank you, everybody. Have a wonderful rest of the week. All right. Take care. Bye-bye.